One mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
They say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism, maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bo?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host,
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
What up, what up, what up? Look what day it is. It's Monday already, man. Back in the saddle. Yours truly, Big Mike, here on the One Mic with Big Mike's show. Broadcast live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app for all your mobile devices, so make sure you guys go to your app store and download that situation and get it popping. I'm also live on TuneIn, as well as my website, OneMic.com. Also, make sure you guys are checking out the live Facebook stream, facebook.com/1MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. I'm streaming live video from that joint right now. Also, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram. Same handle, One Mic with Big Mike. And to be a part of the show, to get your thoughts heard and your questions answered and all those good things, you can just text me at 404-902-8104. You can also jump inside my live interactive chat room. If you're listening to the show via Spreaker or the Spreaker app, you'll see a little thought bubble icon. Just click on that little thought bubble, and it'll get you right inside my live interactive chat room where you guys can talk amongst each other. You can talk back and forth with me. You can ask questions. You can call me an a-hole or whatever you want to do. You know, it's a free state up in there. It's a no constitution, no laws, just go for yours. You can also leave your comments below my Facebook Live video as well. And if you don't get a chance to stick around for the entire show, do not fret 1 minute. You guys can get all this stuff on demand on the outlets that I mentioned earlier, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, on Stitcher, Google Play Music, and of course you can get the video and the audio, or the audio I should say, on YouTube. Getting ready for some Monday Night Football tonight, man. I don't really care about this game that's going on tonight, other than the fact that I'm up in my fantasy league in my game this week by like 20, I think. And I got DeAndre Hopkins going, who hadn't had a good go at things. And I also have, and the other guy I'm playing has Bebe Thomas. So, you know, kind of tense around here. Don't really know how it's going to turn out, but that's whatever. As far as the show goes tonight, of course, at 7:30, it is Monday, so we're going to talk to my homie, the SEC tight end, former SEC tight end, former NFL second-rounder, Ben Troupe. We're going to talk about what we talk about every Monday, college and pro football from the past weekend. We call it Troupe Talk. Also, I'm going to talk some NBA. We're getting closer and closer, a couple days away from the start of the NBA season, so I got to get that jumped off as well. All this talk seems to be surrounding the Golden State Warriors. And I got an interesting take on this whole situation as it pertains to the Warriors, man. And it's something a little bit different than I think what we're used to hearing as it pertains not only to this team, but the team last year that won 73 games as well. Then they got some baseball tomorrow. Not some baseball, not just any baseball game. We got the World Series starting tomorrow in Cleveland, which brings me to another huge disagreement I have with the world of baseball. That whole thing, these dudes won the Cubs won 103 games. Why the hell are they on the road? Because an exhibition game was lost? Yeah, you gotta do better than that. If you baseball, you gotta do better than that. Mention what? Renee's in the chat room. You guys can jump on it too. If you wonder why I pause, I have to read what Renee tells me to do. But she's telling me to mention somebody's blog. I don't know who the hell. I'll get back to that here in just a second. I'll get back to that. You told me you weren't going to show up till 7:30 anyway, Renee. So I thought it's going to be like a substitute teacher, just do what I wanted to do. Anyway, Renee's here, everybody. So, you know, your best behavior. Anyway. What else was I saying? Oh, I got to talk about the NCAA, the football that we saw this weekend. And, man, I asked a question last week, man, about, you know, the good teams in college football. and how it looks like it's Alabama. And yeah, Alabama has its flaws too, but just not as many as the other teams that should be better, the Clemsons of the world, the Ohio States of the world. Maybe Michigan, but Michigan, they're flawed offensively. So we will talk about all that, especially with the homie Ben True. We got some other NFL headlines as well. Of course, I like when the Falcons are relative. You know what I mean? The team here in my city. I like when they're relative because I don't like when they're not. Just like you didn't hear me say nothing about the Braves at all this year because they suck. They suck, right? They was terrible. But when the Falcons are relevant, it allows me to talk about them on a national, global, if you will, type scale, and just not sound like an outlier. Like, why the hell is this dude still talking about the damn Falcons? Well, the Falcons are a little bit of a story, especially this week with all the bad football. Shout out to my man I Am No Dose as we start talking about this bad football that's being played, and he on cue gives the Falcons a middle finger because his squad, the squad that he supports, the New Orleans Saints, took another horrible L this weekend. And you know why it was even more horrible? Because I started Alex Smith on my fantasy team. I know no one cares about anybody's fantasy team but their own, but whatever. This is my show. And that D-bag was supposed to put up huge numbers. Not so much. He's just lucky that I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to pull this win out today. So let's start. We got Monday Night Football today. We got the Broncos and the Texans, and Brock Osweiler is going back to face his old team. My man Brandon Marshall said they're going to kill him and all this kind of stuff. Whatever, man. Football has been bad. It's been bad, so we'll talk about that. Let's get to these scores quickly first, the scores from over the weekend, if you guys missed anything. On Thursday night, the Packers and the Bears had a crap show of a game. The Packers pulled it out 26-10. The Giants and the Rams went overseas to London. Case Keenum doing Case Keenum thing. I can't wait to talk to Ben at 7:30. Remember 3 weeks ago when Ben was like, I really like this Rams team, and I begged him, please don't say that on my show. Please don't say that. Yeah, he said it. Now, he's a dude that got drafted by Jeff Fisher back in the day, so there's like a little bit of a emotional tie there, but you got to put the emotion aside. It's a bad football team. All during Hard Knocks, the one thing I kept tweeting, it's going to be a bad football team. While your man was hollering out, we're not going to have that 7-9S or that 8-8S. The hell you ain't. The hell you ain't. It might be some 6-10-ish. Well, it'd be crazy. So that Giants team went over there, and Eli didn't throw a touchdown pass. Yawn. Yeah, Eli. They left their kicker here, and he's now, I think I mentioned this already, Josh Brown is on the commissioner's exempt list, and at some point this week, the Giants are going to cut his ass, and I don't know what it means from there. I Am No Dose, cover your ears. The Chiefs squeaked one out, 21-27 against the Saints, man. That Saints thing defensively, it's become like a plague, man, over the last couple of years. They just can't even get in nobody's way. Like, they can put up points, and like 21 points on the road at Arrowhead, that's not a lot, but still, the Vikings took their first L of the season. Everybody wanted to turn the football over in that first quarter. No one wanted the football, and I think I said something last week also, talking about this Vikings team, how they were going to need to be beaten. Like, they were going to have to be beaten with Sam Bradford. And with that no-name backfield and with those two tackles being going, you're going to have to beat them with your defense because you're not going to beat them with your offense. Yeah, put that idea away. And the Eagles found a way to do that yesterday. Returned a couple. I think they returned a I don't mean, like, see, now you rubbing it in. Like, my man, I Am No Dose has corrected me on the Saints. Not a couple of years, half a decade. But, you got a Super Bowl during, during the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era. So, ride that out. You know what I mean? Ride that ring out, cuz. The Colts took care of the Titans. The Bills went down to Miami and took an L. Yeah, that boy Jay Ajayi went for 2 bills again. Yeah, the question's over. You ain't ask the question no more who the bell cow running back is for the Dolphins. His name is Jay Ajayi, kid out of Boise State, which a lot of people, man, thought he was going to be one of the better backs in that draft. I mean, of course, you can't predict injury, so he's been plagued with that over his first year and a half in the league. But now the young man's healthy, he looks like a real player, the player that a lot of people thought he was going to be. If you didn't get a chance to see him in college, man, you're getting to see what the Miami Dolphins and a lot of other people saw in that kid Jay Ajayi. The Bills, I think, that ends their 4-game winning streak. Yeah, speaking of streaks ending, the Redskins doing Redskins things up there in Detroit. Those Lions, Josh Norman got a concussion, went out the game. That boy Marvin Jones was going off, and Anquan Bolden. And here's the thing, too. I'm someone who, in the past, has been very, very critical of Matthew Stafford. But Matthew Stafford's playing some good damn football, man. Like, he's getting people involved. Eric Ebron's on the bench. He's getting Golden Tate. I mentioned Marvin Jones and the homie Anquan Bolden. They don't really have no running back to get to necessarily no running game of note. So Matthew Stafford's out there. He's like, I know it's early, and then you got Jim Caldwell, so that's another plus in his favor because when the last time Jim Caldwell did anything? He took the Colts to the Super Bowl, but you already know. I mean, he took them to the Super Bowl in the same light that John Gruden took the Buccaneers team to the Super Bowl. Not even because they had already won one with Tony Dungy. So that's even he already had a Super Bowl team is what I'm saying. The Browns, God, the Browns and the Bengals. They own like another quarterback now. They own the kid from Stanford now, Hogan. They had that kid out there. He's a drop back passer. They had this dude running the read option, getting murdered yesterday. The Bengals, I don't know, they get their 3rd win of the season, but who gives a damn? It's against the Browns. And the crazy thing is, too, the Browns play hard. Like, the Browns ain't like no trash team, but you see the difference in these teams when you don't have a quarterback, man. Like, if you can't field a dude behind center, it's a wrap for you. It don't matter what's going on elsewhere. The Raiders and the Jaguars. Speaking of quarterbacks, that's really underwhelming. That kid Blake Bortles, man. People have been looking for the next step in his evolution, and he just hadn't taken it, man. He ain't throwing for percentage. He's throwing a bunch of interceptions to the other team. Well, that's the only way you can throw an interception to the other team. And it's not really looking good. And he's got people around him. He's got Chris Ivory. He got the Hearns and the other Robinson on the outside. He got some things that he's working with. Nice little defense, young defense. But you've heard my soliloquy plenty of times if you listen to this show about young quarterbacks and defensive head coaches. Gus Bradley, it ain't looking good for his future endeavors in Jacksonville. You know what I'm saying? You got the Ravens and the Jets. Yeah, that happened. The Ravens lost to the Jets after breaking Geno Smith's ACL. That dude is he's like the dude off life, man. He just can't get right. Like, nothing goes his way. He's the unluckiest dude in the world. Last year, the African dude, the linebacker, broke his damn jaw over like $600. This year, he finally gets a start. He done told Josina Anderson how he was chomping at the bit because the team wasn't winning and he knew he could help and all this kind of stuff. And guess what? Boom. Throws a touchdown pass, comes back later on, ACL, torn, gone for the season. It's even at the point, homie's like, nah, I got to get me a second opinion. On what? You think these damn folks don't know what a damn torn and cruciate whatever ligament is? Shit, dude, it's over. And that might be his career, B. Speaking of careers, that might be over. I was reading earlier, Teddy Bridgewater. They said they almost had to cut his leg off, right? Like the ambulance had to get there in a certain amount of time because his leg was about to be gone from that injury he suffered. Now he's saying that even though he might be, he ain't going to lose his leg or die or anything, but the homie might not play again. That's unfortunate. You know what I mean? Like a little, not a little, but a practice injury, man, just ending this dude's career potentially. Yeah, no one loves that at all. Where did I leave off at? Oh, got the Buccaneers and 49ers. Man, my man Kaepernick, man. Oh, man, I want him to be better. That dude's throwing the ball at like 48%. He's running around a little bit, so you can see, he still got his legs or whatever, so that's cool. But the accuracy and throwing the football. Then, you want to talk about a bad team? As I kind of go from talking how Cleveland isn't as bad as they seem, they just can't figure it out at quarterback. Even if John Elway got into the DeLorean and went back 20 years and then joined this 49ers team, they would be trash still. Their roster, the defense is just trash. They give up so many yards. Jacquizz Rodgers, y'all know him here in Atlanta, had 100 yards at half yesterday. Yeah. Yeah. Ain't nobody winning no ball games out there. So I'm kind of down on Cap because just personally, I think he needs to do better and play better to justify a position on a roster, either with the 49ers or somewhere else. But yeah, yeah, it's looking tough, looking real tough. The Patriots got one on the Steelers, 27-16. Tom Brady doing Tom Brady things. Garrett Blunt doing his thing. Landry Jones got the start, of course, for the Pittsburgh Steelers because Ben Roethlisberger is out with that meniscus tear. And Landry Jones didn't look bad. He didn't look bad. He got the ball to guys like Haywood Bay, Antonio Brown. I think Antonio Brown caught a touchdown from him, which didn't happen all last year. Like every touchdown, not even last year, forever. Every ball that this dude has caught in the end zone in the league, Antonio Brown has come off of Ben Roethlisberger's arms. And then there was that trash that happened last night. Yeah, see, I watched the first half because I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. So luckily for me, I didn't have to endure that nonsense that y'all saw last night. And I heard people today talking about how it was a defensive struggle. Look, let me tell you something. It's the NFL. A defensive struggle is 17-14 because they've already pre-negotiated where every team is going to get 10 points based on the rules. You can't do nothing defensively anymore. So based on that, you should be able to muster up 10 points. You got cats missing extra point field. I've already said, if a dude on my team miss a field goal 30 yards and in, I ain't even letting you get on the bus to get on the plane, cuz. Yeah, you better call Travelocity or something crazy, because you know what? I'm signing somebody else, dude. You can't be like even Bruce Arians said it. He was like, dude, this ain't high school. Make the damn kick. And now they're at the bottom of the division, the Seattle Seahawks. They get like like a tie is calculated as a half win, half loss. So whatever that means, and it just depends on where you finish up to what you'll consider it. You know what I mean? So with a team like we got Carson Palmer, and I don't know if Michael Floyd played, but the Johnson kid in the backfield and Larry Johnson, the other kid didn't play. What's the little kid's name? John Brown. He didn't play. He got diagnosed with sickle cell syndrome, or not syndrome. What is it called? Sickle cell trait. He got diagnosed with that joint, man. So he didn't play, and they trying to figure out, how to make sure they treat him going forward. Don't they have to take out your spleen or something? I think I heard Ryan Clark say he had to take out his spleen when that joint happened, and when they found out he had it. And it's in a lot of black folks. Now, the game that I didn't mention, if you've been paying attention, it's the game right here in the city of Atlanta yesterday between the Chargers and the Falcons. The Chargers won that joint 33-0. And this is the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. Also, Spreaker has an app. I'm also live on TuneIn. And, of course, the website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. I'm streaming live video on the Facebook page, One Mic with Big Mike. You guys can check me out there and leave your comments below. I'm about to start talking about these Falcons here in just a second, these dirty birds, man, because shout out to my man Taylor. Jen Fermi, checking in on Facebook. Make sure you guys text the show at 404-902-8104. In about 10 minutes or so, 10, 12 minutes, I got my man Ben Troupe showing up for his weekly segment called Troupe Talk. And you guys can also jump inside the live interactive chat room by clicking on that little thought bubble icon you see on your on the streaming player if you're listening via Spreaker or listening via the app. And make sure you guys are signing up for your free Spreaker accounts as well, and clicking on the little heart to let me know that you're liking the show. So the Falcons, 33-30 in overtime yesterday. And here's the thing. I'm gonna say this to the Falcons fans before I start. Stop with the referee stuff, right? Because you sound like whiny little biatches. You know what I mean? Like the ref ain't called a play, and the ref is this, and the refs suck. But I'm watching the game, and I'm watching my phone. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to figure out, is anybody going to say anything about the calls that the Falcons are getting? No, because you don't care. And that's the hypocrisy in it. So now, the Falcons was up 17 damn points in an NFL game against a team that all season long hadn't done nothing but blow leads. So now you lose that one. It can't be the referee's fault every week. It can't be. Because if you watch enough football, you realize the refs are going to miss plays, miss calls. My question to everybody is always, and you guys can answer this question right now if you're in the chat room or if you're listening on or you're watching on Facebook, you can answer this question right now. And I'll get to the question of the day as well here in just a second. What is a good percentage? What is an adequate percentage for an NFL referee to be? 89, 95, need to be 99. You think an NFL referee should be 100% right at all times? Like, where are we at? What's an acceptable percentage? Because y'all seem to think, especially here, y'all seem to think that a referee missing a call, whether it be in the first quarter, the first minute of the first quarter, or the last minute of the fourth quarter, they're still missing the call. And these dudes are running fast and moving fast as hell. There's a lot of moving parts, and not every call can be made. You know what I mean? The game will be 5 hours long. So just calm down and just evaluate your team. Like reasonably. You feel me? Like, look at the things that. Well, I'm about to tell you the things and the reasons you lost the football game. The Chargers, not the Chargers. The Falcons did pretty much what they wanted to do. They ran the ball. The Chargers came in only allowing 3.8 yards a carry. They did it. The Falcons hit them for 5. That's what you want to do with those two. Tevin Coleman now apparently has a hamstring. We saw him leave the game yesterday, which that's like one of the worst things, because now you got to kind of gauge that thing and rest it properly, because you saw what happened to LaShawn McCoy this weekend. He thought he was ready to rock, but those hamstrings, they'll jump up on your ass and bite you at any given time. You see how to the I guess the opposition of that, how the Patriots handle Rob Gronkowski's hamstring. They just let it wait and rest and rest. Got him into some plays during the time Brady was going, and then made sure he was as healthy as he could possibly be, so the thing ain't just sitting there lingering all season. Now LaShawn McCoy's gonna have to deal with that all season. Deal with the worry of it pulling again or tearing or whatever is going on with his hamstring, because he had the same thing going with him last year. I saw this article today on the Falcons, the Falcoholic. And I try to read that after the games, but sometimes it gets real like fanny on me, So I kind of just move past it. But this joint here is kind of more of a detailing of what happened during the game. By the time I turned the game on, because I was watching NFL Red Zone, by the time I turned the game on, the Chargers was on the 5-yard line. First drive on the Falcons, got down there, and they got a touchdown. Now the next two drives for the Falcons ended up in field goals. You know what I mean? And we talked about last week the red zone deficiencies for this Atlanta Falcons team, and how that's one of those things that need to be cleaned up. And I'll tell you why. It's more important probably for this team than a lot of other teams to be even more efficient down in the red zone. Vic Beasley had a decent game yesterday. You know what I mean? Got a strip sack that led to a touchdown. Who scored that? Adrian Claiborne, right? So they played well on defense. They took the football away twice, which should usually equal a win. And it almost did, but not quite. They settled for some field goals late in the game. Penalties. I had the penalty yards here because I was thinking about that yesterday. 9 penalties for 70 yards. 3 for 14. That interception that Matt Ryan threw late in the game, which is another thing that you should be able to look at, Falcons fans, and not just the interception, because that's the lazy thing to do. That's the lazy thing to sit there and say, oh, man, look at Matt threw that damn interception, trying to force it to Julio. Well, let's look 2 plays before that. The 2 plays that weren't run because of pre-snap penalties. So you put a guy like Matt Ryan in that position where now you got 2 consecutive penalties, and now he has to try to drive the ball downfield. Well, if I'm him, who the hell am I going to drive the ball downfield to? Damn right, number 11. Problem is, the Chargers knew that too, and they made a damn good play. But that needs to be cleaned up, and here's why. In a nutshell, here's why this is why everything with Matt Ryan and with the offense needs to be clean, because that defense ain't gonna give you nothing. You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff is cool. All that, we got a sack here, or we made a pass breakup here. All that stuff is cool, but you got to keep people out the end zone. And then really, you still got, like, this defense still got cats running up and down the field, almost 400 yards a game. In 47 games they played, they gave up 30 points. And think about what happened in the last 2 weeks with this team. The 2 weeks that Matt Ryan didn't throw, didn't play perfect football. Perfect football. He threw a pick last week and a pick this week. They lose. This is what I've been talking about all season. This is a true assessment of the team. You need your quarterback, who's having an all-time year. Your all-pro wide receiver, who else is having an all-time year. You need him to play perfect every week for 16 weeks to win ball games, because when it came down to it yesterday and you needed your defense to make stops, they didn't. And what was the residual effect of that? Dan Quinn, midfield, 4th and inches. After, by the way, not getting it on 3rd and inches, going on 4th and inches, missing it or not getting it, which I'm gonna put that to the turnover category. To me, that's a turnover. So now the Chargers have short field. This kid Lambeau, he's a decent NFL kicker. And you lose the game. Just that simply. Because your defense, and even with all the sacks, not all the sacks, they got a couple sacks yesterday, they don't affect the quarterback enough. And what I mean is getting hits on the quarterback, pressuring the quarterback, forcing holding penalties. It don't happen enough. This is why, like, this team in and of itself, I start to wonder about if it's, if anyone truly believes. Now, I know y'all are rising up and riding the dime and all this kind of craziness, but who really truly believes this is a championship caliber team as constructed? Because, like, as you see, these windows ain't open long. You know what I mean? Look at the Panthers. Look at the Cardinals. These windows ain't open very long. So if you don't hit them joints running, you become, this average team. Look at the Bengals. Like, everybody's like, oh yeah, Marvin Lewis, they show up in the playoffs every year. Every year they show up in the playoffs. So damn what? Inevitably, rosters are going to turn over. People are going to leave in free agency. The draft picks, you're not going to hit on them. Guys are going to get older and injured. Like, after I talked to Ben Troupe, I want to come back and I want to talk about where the Falcons are going from here. Like, where can we see them going? Also, make sure you guys answer the question of the day, because I want to talk about this too. Like, what does the NFL do? What does the NFL need to do to rectify these trash games that we're seeing? Now, we've seen a lot of trash football, especially those Thursday night situations. They're like grease dumpster residue, like snot juice in the bottom of the dumpster. They're terrible games. The question of the day is brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. Make sure you guys send them to me via text, 404-902-8104. You can answer them there. You can jump inside the live interactive chat room by clicking on that little thought bubble that you see on your streaming player and leave your answers there as well. I got a couple here. I tell you what, I'll wait till after I talk to Ben to read them off. What else can you guys do? You guys can leave them under my streaming video as well. Leave your comments below the streaming video, like my guy Taylor Genfermi, I think that's the right pronunciation, has already. So coming up next on the One Mic with Big Mike show, Troupe Talk with the homie Ben Troupe. I'll be back.
I have one question for you. Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone. Childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger. Together we're feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
Take it to the candy shop. Yeah. Welcome back to the One Mic with Big Mike show here on a Monday. That 50, that joint used to be riding, man. I'm here, man. Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Also on TuneIn. And my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, live at 7 o'clock. Also, make sure you guys check out the podcast on demand. All those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and, of course, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to iTunes and subscribe to that Google Play situation. Well, it is Monday. Also, I'm streaming live video right now on my Facebook, One Mic with Big Mike on Facebook. You can see the beautiful mug of this handsome gentleman I'm about to talk to here in just a second. We do it every Monday, man. It's called Troupe Talk.
It's time for Troupe Talk.
What you talking about?
We're talking NFL and college football with former NFL and SEC tight end Ben Troupe.
Ben Troupe at the 15, at the 10, hurdles the man, spins to the 5. Oh my! Still on his feet, still pounding to the goal line. He's gonna score! He's gonna score!
Troupe Talk. Troupe Talk.
We heading to the top if you come and come on.
On One Mic with Big Mike.
Yeah, man. It's time for Troupe. What was that? What game was that? In that intro, Ben.
That was the Ole Miss game.
Ole Miss, yeah, man. Ben was out there beasting on Ole Miss. Feel me? He's former Florida Gator tight end. Also a second round pick in 2004 for the Tennessee Titans. He's about to be a Hall of Famer for the Georgia-Florida game. He is Ben Troupe. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter and Instagram at BENTROUPE84. If you like to get motivated, Ben be on there motivating cats. You feel me? Let's start in college football. My man, our guy, Lamar Jackson, man. Lamar Jackson showed back up against his NC State squad yesterday. It was like, hold on. Don't panic, nobody. I'm still about to win this Heisman. But here's my thing with the Heisman, man. I'm running out of people. Like this JT Barrett thing. I had JT Barrett in there, like, really just because, they was undefeated. Mm-hmm. And, the kid Jalen Hurts, I like him, but, like, Heisman, I don't know. So I'm looking at really Lamar Jackson, the Peppers kid in Michigan, and the Browning kid in Washington. Dude, Brent Musburger asked this question the other day, and I'm going to let you answer it. Is it too late for Leonard Fournette to still be considered in the Heisman? Now, your homie ran for 284 now. He ran for 284 the other night. But what you think? Is it too late, man?
If it was anybody other than him, it would be too late.
Yeah.
I mean, because the thing about Leonard Fournette is, with him, it's one of those things to where he, injury, 3 games and he's not there. But the one game he's back against a pretty good at least I thought it was a pretty good Ole Miss defense. It's one of those things to where he's that good of a player. He's that good of a talent to the point where people go, hey man, what happened to number 7 for LSU? Oh God, that's him right there. It's one of those things like that. And the thing about it is Lamar Jackson, he come out of nowhere. Kid from Washington come out of nowhere. Obviously, J.T. Barrett, is a guy that, was putting together a nice little resume. But Leonard Fournette is a guy that you expected this from him. Yeah. It's just the fact that he's been injured. I think because of how well Lamar Jackson is playing and looking at the rest of his schedule, he ain't got too many great teams left. I think it's Lamar Jackson's to lose.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of Jalen Hurts and the Alabama squad, they went down there and, not went down there. They invited Texas A&M to come in and get an ass whooping. And the same question I asked you last week, and especially after this Ohio State loss. What are we looking at now? We're looking at Alabama and maybe Michigan, but I still think if I put Alabama and Michigan on a neutral field, I don't think Michigan stands up. What are your thoughts on the state of teams in college football?
I think you're definitely right when you say it's Alabama and everybody else.
Yeah.
I take nothing away from Michigan, but Michigan still has to play Ohio State, and Ohio State has been that Achilles heel. And last time I think Michigan still has to play Michigan State, correct?
Yep.
If they haven't played them yet.
That Michigan State team done got 5 L's in a row, though, Ben. They're pretty bad.
They have. But you know what it's like when you play your in-state rivalry.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like Georgia Tech. It's like something that
throw the records out.
fire. But exactly. But the thing about Alabama is this: it's a level of consistency that goes on in Alabama that nobody else can reach. Was Michigan the same team before Harbaugh got there? No. Was Ohio State doing the things they're doing before Urban Meyer got there? Yes and no. Jim Tressel had his time, but no. So when you think about it, the one common denominator throughout all those years is Alabama. Alabama is a team that not just Alabama, but the world expects them to lose. See, when Ohio State lost, okay, they lost to Penn State. But when Alabama loses, that's breaking news. Alabama lost. To who? It's like, who beat them? Because it's not something that happens often. But that's another reason why the 4-game playoff is as important as it is. Because now, like you said, you get to see these great teams on neutral fields and to see what happens.
I'm not trying to see no 8. Are you? Ben? I hear people since they went to 4. Who are the other 4 teams that you really think you want to see win a championship? Nobody. It's barely 4.
And I don't want to see 8. I don't want to see 8 because now you got 2 lost teams, maybe even a 3 lost team getting to that 8.
That's
I can deal with a 1 loss, but you're still a good team. Like sometimes great teams have a bad day, which is what I think happened to Ohio State and Penn State. You just hit. And listen, special teams. If you get a blocked field goal, listen, it's supposed to be a kick six. It happens. I mean, the best kick six you're going to ever see is the Iron Bowl. Jesus. I mean, I was watching that. I don't root for the Auburn or Alabama, but that's why you love football. I'm like, this boy about to take it back 100. And the thing about it is I can live with a 1-loss team that still has a great resume compared to a 2-loss team because they might be the best team in that conference. I don't want to see 8. It's already 37 bowl games. Yeah, I think that's enough.
Right. I'm talking right now to Ben Troupe. We do it every week. It's called Troupe Talk. He's a former SEC tight end for the Florida Gators. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at BENTROUPE84. Look what's happening with Auburn and LSU, dude. Like after that winner go home bowl between Malzahn and Les, that Les lost at the last minute. Like Auburn done found them something. Like they got this big grown man running back there. LSU, of course, they put some creativity behind their offense, so it's not just like Leonard Fournette against a 9-man box. Both of these teams are headed upward. I want to ask you where you see these teams going forward, especially with LSU having Ed Orgeron as an interim coach. First of all, do you think he's a guy that can step in and command that LSU stage?
Well, yeah, because I mean he's been a head coach in the SEC. He knows what it takes to win the big programs. He understands what it takes to galvanize his troops to be able to get them to go out there and play football. And when you look at how he's coaching and moving forward, he said, "Listen, let's get away from all this glamour. We got one of the best running backs, if not the best player in college football, taking it away from Jackson or Watson in our backfield. We're going to hand it to him. We're going to play big boy football on defense. We're going to make the other team one-dimensional, and we're going to win games." The thing about the Auburn game, though, 57 rushes for over 500 and something yards. Arkansas coach said it the best. We had no defense today. We had no edge. People don't understand as an edge defensive player how you have to seal the end. You cannot let them go outside because everybody knows if that running back, if that first play of the game should never happen. It just shouldn't. It was a great call, but it should never happen. And 540-something yards rushing with 7 touchdowns, that's embarrassing. Yeah. Nobody on that defense should have nothing to say for the rest of the season because as soon as you open up your mouth, I'm going to put the tape on because that's embarrassing.
Speaking of defense, I know this seems to be a weekly thing, man. Our guy, Charlie Strong, is slipping. It almost seems like really been, and I've told you before, I'm never the guy that says, somebody needs to get fired. But at this point, it's almost like putting the dude out his misery at this point, man. Because now he's kind of like a dead man walking, isn't he?
Yeah, and there, two things are happening in the state of Texas that we didn't see happen. Number one, the Texas Longhorns are continuing to plummet. And the head coach of Houston, he's slipping too. See, he's not going to be the head coach. See, that's the thing.
I was going to ask you about that.
The person that you're scouting, well, somebody need to tell him, you got to keep winning. See, the guy that you need to lose, he's losing, but you can't lose at Houston and think you're finna lose there and come to Texas. So I just think Texas is in a bad situation. UT is in a bad situation altogether because the guy they wanted for the job isn't panning out.
Let me ask you this.
Guy about
2 dudes. Would would you consider this opening up the door for a guy like maybe Les Miles or a guy like Mike D'Antoni, who's having an off season in Michigan State, but we know he can coach. You know what I mean? We've seen his work before. Does it open up the door for those two guys, do you think, at Texas?
I think Les Miles more than D'Antoni because the thing about it is D'Antoni, I think he's very conventional. When you play that style of football so much, you're going to try to bring that style to Texas and it might not work. Whereas a guy like Les Miles, I think he's a lot more innovative than people have shown because he's coached the Odell Beckhams and the Landry Jones of the world. People just think he's just a Leonard Fournette. Well, Leonard Fournette, I ain't got nobody else outside of him. I mean, I ain't really got nobody to throw to. I got a pocket passer, but, so I think Les Miles coming from LSU, and the world saw how LSU did Les Miles. Now we lost with Les Miles, but it's the same 85 guys who's winning now. Something, people can wear out their welcome, but this is the national championship head coach. This is the guy who coached at LSU in the same division as Alabama, who used to go toe-to-toe with Nick Saban. So I think that it's Les Miles' job only because whenever you're a big-time coach in the SEC and you have a national championship and a proven winning record, you can go anywhere and coach.
Yeah. You're so right about Tom Herman, man. I saw him lose again to SMU, and I'm like, man, this dude is tearing his draws. We're doing Troupe Talk right now. It's a Monday, of course, so we're talking to Ben Troupe, second-round pick in 04 from the Titans, about to be a Georgia-Florida game Hall of Famer. Make sure you guys are following him on Twitter and on Instagram at Ben, BNTROUPE 84. Now, let's talk about something that we haven't talked about, and it's been going on, but I kind of just been glazing over it. That situation up there in Oregon, my man. Like Oregon, I'm going to ask the question this way. Has Oregon fallen back to the pack, or has the pack caught, that's not a word. Did the pack catch Oregon?
I think it's both.
Oh.
I think the pack is, I think they've fallen back, and I think people are caught up. When you realize, if you realize in the past, just like with the Leonard Fournette, Oregon has always had something special.
Yeah.
Going on there. Mm-hmm. You had, I can't remember the little running back they had that plays for Kansas City. They used to call him the Black Mamba. They've always had, big-time players coming through. I'm not saying they don't now. But you see, the stranglehold that they had, on that competition, well, he's gone now. He's in the NFL.
And also because, remember, USC was on probation, so they was able to go down to California and get all those fast L.A. boys while USC couldn't offer them no scholarship, right?
Yeah, and I think people are starting to go to Oregon for the reason why you should go to Oregon. Outside of playing in Eugene, you go to Oregon because you get them nice units, and you got a good shot at working at Nike. If you can't get a job at Nike going to Oregon, it's a problem. I mean, because the thing about Oregon that when Oregon is like Boise State back in the day, they used to win a lot of games, except the big one. So people go, they're a great program, but can they win the big one? And the thing is, nobody's going to remember losing in the national championship. Just like nobody remember who loses in the Super Bowl. They remember who won. So, I mean, I do think the Pack has caught up with Oregon. I still think they got a shot to get back to their old ways, but I just think they're a couple of years away because, like you were saying, with USC, long ways past those sanctions, you're not going to lose those same recruits. They're gonna go to Southern California. They're not going to Eugene anymore.
Right, and they got to get that quarterback situation strong. They keep trying to go and get those FBS dudes, and it ain't been working out. Mariota's a long time ago seeming like, let's move to the world of pro football, my man. We had a lot of craziness go on this week, man. Let's start with Minnesota. They took the first L, and me and you talked about this last week, man, that the way you're going to beat them is with your defense. Like, your offense is not going to beat this team's defense, and they showed up and they did it. Now that it's been done, those tackles have been taken advantage of. Sam Bradford has come down back now to earth. Where do you see this Vikings team going forward?
They're gonna have to regroup. I mean, I think Mike Zimmer said it the best. The O-line was soft. I mean, they were just soft all day. And when you think about it too, you have to beat a bully the same way he beats people up. You got to punch him in his mouth. And you do it on both sides of the ball by running the football on offense and punch him in the mouth on defense. The thing about Philly's defense, Malcolm Jenkins and those boys and Fletcher Cox, they don't get enough credit. These boys can play some ball, man. And the thing about it is, Philly is putting together a nice little season, too. They only got, I think, one loss on their resume thus far moving forward. But whenever you beat an undefeated, very impressive Minnesota Vikings, this ain't the old Vikings, a lot got to be said, about the way that team came out. Malcolm Jenkins and those boys galvanized those troops and said, listen, man, we going up against a great defense. Let's show them that our defense is pretty good, too. So if that offensive line can't play no better than it did on Sunday, ain't nobody going to remember that 5-0 start.
Yeah, man. Spent the first quarter just trading damn turnovers. Let's come to Atlanta, my man. I've been telling people all year long that the two games that we saw this team lose in back-to-back weeks is how I said the Falcons would lose. The games that Matt Ryan wasn't absolutely perfect because this defense don't need to be trusted by anyone. The problem is this dude threw a pick last week and a pick this week, Ben, and lost the football. One interception and lost the football game in which they won the turnover battle. You know what I mean? They had too many penalties. Yeah. And I know people down here are going to panic. And maybe they should. Let me ask you, should they be panicking based on what happened to this team down the stretch last year?
I think they should panic because I say the thing about Matt Ryan that people have to understand with this. Like you just said, it's one pick. See, the thing about Matt Ryan is he's such a good quarterback that he's a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. And the problem with being that is when you're a perfectionist and you can put up numbers the way, he trusts his arm too much. See, the thing is, I think I can fit it in there. I see a little glimpse of black. But see, the problem is he's surrounded by that other team. And the thing about Matt Ryan, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks. I think he's an elite quarterback. But Matt Ryan, at the end of the day, if you cannot win the games in crunch time, you're just a good quarterback. You're not a great one because you can't get us past the hump. I do not trust any Atlanta defense. Vic Beasley gets one freaking sack and people go, he's coming to his own. No, he's not. God. He's not coming to it. And listen, I'm going to get a sack every once in a while, but the problem is I didn't draft you to get one every once in a while. I drafted you to be, create havoc on to that.
Right, and that's what I keep telling people. Affect the quarterback. You don't always have to sack him, but you got to affect the quarterback, affect the passing game, get some holding penalties, hit the quarterback, tip some balls. You got to do those type of things. Like, for example,
he got to sack Vic Beasley.
The young kid on the other side of the football, man, Joey Bosa. Yeah, that's a real football player, my man.
Listen. Joey Bosa is showing people why he held out, why he went to third pick in the draft.
That dude didn't practice at all, and he's wrecking people.
This is the thing. Joey Bosa gets chipped by tight ends and running backs. Who's chipping Vic Beasley?
Yeah, exactly.
They are blocking him one-on-one. They're not wasting 3 and 2 guys on this guy. I'm just saying.
You're absolutely right. I'm talking right now to Ben Troupe. Got a couple more minutes here with him on Troupe Talk. You guys know him from the SEC. He was a tight end for the University of Florida. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at BENTROUPE84. I got to remind you about something you said a couple of weeks ago, and I begged you not to say it. You said, I like this Ram squad. And I was saying to you, Ben, it's a bad football. Remember I said this is a bad football team, my man. Look what's happening. Look, dude, let me tell you what's going to happen, Ben. Todd Gurley is the new Steven Jackson, dude. This dude is a good, like, if I had to put man for man, like running back for running back, I'd take Todd Gurley before I took Ezekiel Elliott, and I'm not even playing. But you know what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. He's out there with that trash offensive line, that trash quarterback. They're going to keep putting the ball in his stomach and waste that dude's career, my man.
Listen, I'm not understanding why Jared Goff doesn't play. I'm just,
that's the mystery, dude.
It's got to be something in practice that we don't see.
Dude, you traded up to get that dude.
I just listen. You're losing anyway. What are you? It's almost like, listen. Look. You don't go get a thoroughbred and leave him in the stable. What is is Seabiscuit ready or not? Yeah, man, he had what is going on? Because you're losing anyway. And the thing about this is that defense, they play lights out. But the thing is, Case Keenum, nothing against him. But come on, are you serious? That's the. It's like, coach, you telling me when you go through the game plan, when you look at the 53-man roster, the quarterback position, that's the best we got. That's the best we got. And we taking him to London, yeah. Man, I'm gonna tell my wife to go ahead and put our house up for sale right now because we ain't gonna have jobs.
It's about to be over. On that same note, let me ask you this because I got a theory about drafting first round running backs. I don't believe in it at all. I think the numbers tell me, and the league is telling me that you can get a good running back if you scout well. You get a real good running back. Picture here in Atlanta, you got 2 of them, 3rd and 4th round. Yeah. I'm not a believer in the first round running back.
Boys are nice. Yeah.
And I think what's happening, Ben, I think what's going to happen, especially with Leonard Fournette, the same thing happened to Todd Gurley. Like, everybody's going to look at Ezekiel Elliott and say, you know what? That dude changed their football team. No, he didn't. That team was ready rock for him. You know what I mean? They'd already drafted those badass offensive linemen, those bad meaning good offensive linemen years before he got there. So what you do with a dude like Ezekiel Elliott with all that talent, you just drop him in there. like a tea bag in the water. You just drop him in there and let him percolate, B. You can't do that with everybody. See Todd Gurley. So I want to get, like, where do you stand on drafting a running back in the first round? Like, especially early in the first round.
You know, I think but in order for you to draft a first round running back, he has to have difference maker ability. He has to be a guy for whom fits into a system. Because, like I say, LaDainian Tomlinson was worth that pick. Adrian Peterson was worth that.
But weren't those different eras though, when people actually ran the football?
They weren't different eras, but the thing is, Leonard Fournette should not suffer based off who came before him with a crop of running backs that didn't pan out. Because when you look, I think first round talent looks a certain way. Even if it doesn't pan out, it looks. And when I look at Leonard Fournette, even if I'm a candid football fan, I'm like, who in the world is number 7 for LSU?
Yeah, he's an adult playing against children.
See, and the thing about it is this. I know everybody's going to go back. I'm going to tell you who hurt the running back position more than any first-round pick I've ever seen, and it was Reggie Bush. Because people thought that he was going to change the game. Not failing to realize is Reggie Bush wasn't a beast running back. It was Lindell White. He was the run between the tackles guy. Reggie Bush was that shifty guy.
Right.
But I just think that Leonard Fournette is a first-round talent. If he goes first round, which I think he should,
he will.
You know, running backs are a dime a dozen. But the thing is this: just imagine Leonard Fournette with Dallas right now. Would he be doing what Ezekiel is doing? Yes, I think so. It always comes down to fit and scheme. You got to go to the right fit, and if you don't go to the right fit, it's gonna be rough. Like the running back, I can't remember his name, out of I think it was out of Wisconsin. The one that's out there in San Diego. I don't think it's the right fit. I just don't think it's the right fit based off because they're throwing teams first. And this is the one thing I'm gonna say, Mike, when it comes to running backs. Stop saying you cannot replace LaDainian Tomlinson. We've been looking for his replacement. It'll never happen. You can't replace that kind of production.
That's all time. Yeah. Let's talk about what happened last week, because we haven't spoken since this Josh Brown thing went down up in New York, and I was very bothered by it. I was bothered more so by the reaction of his teammates. And you're a guy who spent time in the NFL, in those NFL locker rooms. And here's the thing that bothered me the most. When week 4 last, when Donald Trump was caught on tape talking about grabbing broads by the crotch and all this kind of stuff. All these people, and he said it was locker room talk. So all these locker room guys came out. Nah, we won't do that in the locker room. We have our kids in here. You know, it's more family oriented than anything. But here we are a week later. You in the locker room with a dude who's confessed, and his wife is his wife is on record as saying he beat her up 20-something times. And now you got Victor Cruz, you got Jason Pierre-Paul, you got Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, all these dudes. But that's my guy. He's a good guy. I wish the best for him. I hope he, like, how you do both? How you say that this ain't that type of locker room, but also say I'm gonna back this dude up who like to beat on his woman? Give me some perspective on what it is, because everybody's talking about we mind our business in here. We don't get into people's personal business, but give me and the listeners some perspective on what these guys are actually saying about the locker room culture.
Well, one thing I think they're trying to go to bat for their teammate, but you got to know when to go to bat for your teammate. And I agree with Steve Smith Sr. This system is so broken. Look at how much craziness went on with Ray Rice, which it should have been, But then you got other, you got Hardy.
Right.
And you got all these situations. Now, this is the thing. His wife showed that he documented everything he's done.
Right.
Yet. You got the organization coming out saying we're not going to turn our backs on him. And listen, man, I mean, listen. Listen, man, I mean, what you say, man? What you say, what the women demons say something about, maybe it ain't a race thing, maybe it's a place thing.
Right.
People got to know their place. And the thing about it is when that Ray Rice thing came out, you remember that commercial they had saying "No More" with
Chris Carter crying on it and all that.
Where that commercial at?
Exactly.
Listen, that was the commercial that aired for so many times. I'm gonna say this, and people gonna get mad. The NFL does not care about women like that.
That's exactly what I said Friday. Exactly.
They don't care. Listen, they don't care. And I'm gonna tell you why they don't care. The only thing they care about when it comes to women is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's it. Outside of that, you mean to tell me that a man's wife, forget that he's a football player, a man's wife is being tortured. She's a sexual slave and all this nonsense, and you're going to say we're not going to turn our backs on them? If that's not saying we don't care about women, nothing else will. And the problem is this. you're going to put him on a Roger Goodell exempt list, which means, oh, we ain't going to take his money from him. We ain't going to take his career from him because we don't know yet. You know what they should do? Somebody should, I hope Oprah or somebody need to interview that man's wife. Face it the way that everybody can see. Because the NFL, man, I mean, the thing about it is, man, the NFL shows you what they care about. They care about the players. They care about the shield. Anything outside of it, we'll donate a couple of dollars to it, but once it goes away, it goes away.
Right. And speaking of a couple of dollars, this whole breast cancer awareness one, I looked it up last year. All that merchandise that they sell, 5% of the money goes to breast cancer. You would think all of it, right? 5%.
No. If you know the NFL, if it don't make dollars, it don't make no sense.
Please
what?
Believe that. No. Please believe that. As we wrap up here, Gino got the start yesterday, Ben. And then Gino tore his damn ACL immediately.
Gino got RG3. God dang it, Gino!
Man, what the hell is his fault? Like, yeah, he just can't get right.
Them boy, in the word, what they say on that on World Star, he need to drink some milk.
Yeah, no, he can't get right at all. But then your man got on the podium and just went off. Like, look, I know the coach don't care about me, the front office don't care about me. I only care about myself. I was like, what? Look, that's how white people quit their job, though. Like, white people quit their job that way because they know they're gonna still get paid.
Ryan Fitzpatrick got too comfortable too fast, not realizing. Listen, man. Just because we pay you all this money, don't act like you ain't the creme de la creme. You just happen to be the best quarterback for our team.
Right. We couldn't get nobody else.
It don't mean you the best quarterback. You ain't the best quarterback in the league by far. You ain't starting on no other team, maybe Cleveland, outside of this team. So it's just one of those. That's the motivation he needed. And then I like what Ty Bowles said. He said, listen, I don't care how he feel as long as he ain't throwing turnover. I hope he, man. I hope as long as he ain't turn the football over. Listen, they don't pay me for somebody's feelings. I pay him too much money for his feelings. He need to quit throwing turnover. And if that's what it took, hopefully that'll bowl well for the rest of the season.
Well, it's the last thing I got for you. It's a personal question. I was reading today that the Cowboys went out to dinner, spent $54,000 on dinner for the group. And I was just wondering, like, the thought hit my mind. I was like, I was wondering, like, when that started, like the big time spending by athletes. Because I got another cat that I mess with that played in the league. His name is Troupe, and he said something to me one time that I'm gonna always keep with me. He was like, Mike, man, you got to understand. When he came on the Sports Kings, he was like, at 25 years old, you talking about a bunch of dudes that's trying to make all their money for the rest of their lives, basically. That's why dudes try so hard to stay in the league as long as they can, because they trying to make pretty much all the money that they going to make for the rest of their life. So then I thought to myself, then why do dudes go out and get like 5 and 7 cars? So I'm going to ask you, Ben, like, what was the most extravagant thing you did with your money when you was in the league?
The most extravagant thing.
And do you regret it?
I did have you know what? I did have a lot of cars. I don't know why. I did have a lot of cars. But you know what? I ain't going to lie to you. Because, I mean, I don't wear jewelry. Yeah. I ain't really buy no extravagant stuff. But this is the most extravagant. I'm going to tell you this. The most expensive thing, and I'm not talking about my family, the most expensive thing I've ever done was not say no.
Oh.
And I'm going to say, and the thing is, listen, people don't realize $100 here, $200 there, $1,000 here. Because forgetting that it's adding up, it never comes back. See the thing, not rich people. See, this is the thing about the NFL. Most NFL players, they're going to be rich. We'll never be wealthy.
Yeah.
See, the thing about Jerry Jones is, he said, yeah, I could pay $100 million in taxes because I made $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about it is the money that I spend comes back twice. So the thing about what Terrell Troupe is saying is, which is such a great perspective, you're trying to make all the money you can make. The unfortunate part of it is they don't tell you that out of a 53-man roster, only about 7-8 guys gonna make over $1 million.
Yeah.
So what Terrell is really saying is this: most football players have not developed any other talent outside of football.
Yep.
They don't have any other skill set. So when I leave here, what do I do? The scariest thing for a professional is becoming regular. Not me, but they scared to be regular people because they never had to be. My sister I was in the car with my sister today. She told me about this young man. She asked him what high school he was going to. He said, I'm going to this high school. She said, well, you zoned for that one. He said, well, when you're a good football player, they give you grades.
Boom.
So his mentality is, I just got to be this to get that. And unfortunately, in life, That's not how life works.
Absolutely, Ben. As always, man, it's been great. Y'all hear that knowledge being dropped? So if you know anybody who got that mentality, man, Ben Troupe got you. Make sure you guys are following him on Twitter and Instagram. Get more of that motivation at BENTROUPE 84. We'll do it again next week, my man.
Appreciate it.
That's Ben Troupe, man. Troupe Talk here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk some more about what's going on with the NFL. You heard what Ben had to say about it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on where the NFL is going. I want to also talk, what did I say? See, this is why I have to write stuff down, because I want to make sure I get it straight. The question of the day is, what should the NFL do to fix these bad games that we're seeing? And I got some answers from the Instagram and Facebook and all that. Is brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. I had a conversation with the homie Rob Calloway before the show. I might do that every day. He's such an idiot. He kind of made me laugh at some things that I have forgotten that my dumb ass had said. Anyway, we're going to come back. We got to do On This Day, of course. We got to take our daily look back into the annals of sports. So we'll do all that on the other side of a break right here on One Mic with Big Mike.
Well, I have one question for you. Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertiser. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Time starts now. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat? Where can you find the answers to these questions?
Car crashes are one of the leading killers of U.S. children. Many of those deaths could be prevented by making sure that kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah, I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Right here on a Monday for the second half of the show, I want to thank my guest last segment, Ben Troupe, former SEC and NFL tight end. He joins me every Monday for this thing we do called Troupe Talk. Just 2 guys, man, talking ball. It's like one of my favorite segments that I've done on this show. You know, just 2 dudes kind of just letting it rip and letting you guys peek in on the conversation. He got some real interesting perspectives. That's why I actually like talking to him. I'm live here on Spreaker.com. I'm on the Spreaker app as well. That's SPREAKER.com. Make sure you guys sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. And once you do that, follow me on Spreaker. Search for One Mic with Big Mike and then give me a follow on Spreaker. That way, you get alerts when the show goes live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock. You can also hear the show live on TuneIn and my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. You can join the live interactive chat room where you can holler at me, holler at Renee, holler at I Am No Dose, whoever else is in the chat room. You can do that by clicking on that little thought bubble icon you see on the streaming player. You got to be listening via Spreaker or the app or my website, though. And it'll get you right inside the chat room. You guys can also be a part of the show by texting me at 404-902-8104 or by dropping your comments below the live streaming video on the Facebook page, facebook.com/One Mic with Big Mike. Also, don't forget, if you didn't get a chance to check out the first hour of the show, it's all available on demand on the 4 outlets that I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and of course YouTube, which you can get the video on demand and the audio on demand. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. Also subscribe to iTunes and of course the Google Play Music situation. It's the time in the show where we go back in history. I'll give you guys some little historical factoids to make you smarter. Sports fans, I call it on this day.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right, let's get through this because I want to, I figure what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the conversation I wanted to have about the Atlanta Falcons and, their playoff window, and not just them, in general, for teams, playoff windows, how long they stay open. I'm going to move that to Wednesday so I get a jump start on Wednesday's show because I think I want to do a little bit more research on what the Falcons are going to need to do draft-wise and the way teams that have these extended windows are constructed and how it's opposite to the way the Falcons are constructed. So, without further ado, on this day in 1971, Chuck Hughes of the Detroit Lions, he collapsed during a game and later dies. I didn't do the research to figure out how he died or why he collapsed, but he did. He died in 1971. On this day in 1971, also Texas Stadium, the Dallas Cowboys' old home stadium, not Jerry World. This is the day it opened. They beat the New England Patriots 44-21 in that game. On this day in 1988, the New York Islanders and the NHL high scorer Mike Bossy retires. Didn't mean to leave that in there. I meant to delete that. In 1989 on this day in 1989, after a week's delay due to the earthquake, the World Series Game 3 is played. It was World Series number 86. Who was that? The Giants, and who were the Giants playing in that World Series? The A's, was it? Giants and the A's? It was the Giants because the earthquake was in San Francisco. On this day in 1992, the Toronto Blue Jays became the first non-U.S. team to win the World Series. Everybody remembers that iconic Mitch Williams, Joe Carter home run. On this day in 1996, stand up, ATL, the Braves played their last game at the old Fulton County Stadium. They lost, though, to the New York Yankees 1-0 in Game 5 of the World Series. The next season, the Braves began to play at Olympic Stadium. On this day in 1997, in Arlington, Virginia, former NBC sportscaster Marv Albert was spared a jail sentence. Y'all remember this. After a courtroom apology to the woman he bitten during a sexual encounter. On this day in 1998, Ricky Williams, y'all know Ricky of I Love to Smoke Weed fame. At this time, he was at the University of Texas, though. He became the leading scorer in the NCAA Division I history. At the end of the game, he had a total of 428 points. I want to say Ron Dane came back behind him, though. The great Dane came back behind him and broke that record. Anyway, that is your Monday edition of On This Day. I was reading what I Am No Dose said. The earthquake was in Oakland, but wouldn't that mean it was in San Francisco too? Ain't San Francisco and Oakland like separated by a bridge? And it was the Giants that were playing, right? Yeah, the Giants were playing. Like they're separated by a bridge. So I'm assuming if an earthquake hit Oakland, it hit San Francisco. All right, now you know what I Am No Dose. You getting carried away with these corrections now. I mean, I appreciate them, but sometimes just let me be like half wrong, half right. Whatever. This is the same thing, ain't it? Being half wrong and half right. Whatever. It was an earthquake. The ground shook, and people panicked, and bad things happened. Anyway, I want to give you guys, first and foremost, I want to move on to the before I do that, let me make sure I didn't miss anything from this NFL talk though. Yeah, I'll get back to the problems and fixing the NCAA, the world of the NFL. I want to quickly give you guys the updated AP poll, college football. Some changes got made. Some things had to change. At number 10, West Virginia. See, I got Decatur on you real quick. West Virginia went from 12 to 10. Texas A&M dropped from 6 to 9. Yeah, they did. After that loss to Alabama, Baylor just quietly just hanging around, after all the rapey, sexual assaulty stuff going on the campus. They're just hanging around, coming in, going from 9 to 8. Nebraska, still undefeated in that Big Ten, on the other side. Remember when they were like the heroes and the whatever the hell they were? They tried to give the divisions these whack names. Yeah, anyway, they're undefeated. They're back. They're at 7 from 8. Ohio State, after losing to Penn State, went from 2 to 6. Right behind Louisville, who was at number 7 last week. They're at number 5 this week. That Washington gang is just hanging out. The Pac-12 is just there for the taking. With Oregon down, UCLA, their young quarterback's hurt. USC ain't doing nothing. Stanford is down. You know, somebody asked today if people were off the Christian McCaffrey bandwagon. Don't be. That's a good football player. You know, but David Shaw just felt like he can run that dude into the damn ground, and you can't do that. And eventually your body's going to say, enough. I need a break. Same thing with Leonard Fournette. Christian McCaffrey's a good damn football player. So anyway, at number 3, Clemson jumped back up from number 4 to 3. Michigan hanging in there at number 1, but we all know they got to still play Ohio State. This is why Ohio State's not out of it. Because I believe a one-loss Big Ten champion gets into the playoffs. If it's Ohio State, hell yeah, they beat Michigan, then show up and beat Nebraska in the Big Ten championship. Done deal. Let's go. And then, of course, you got, Alabama sitting up there at number 1. As far as the games from this weekend that were good, I already mentioned Alabama putting that thing on Texas A&M, which it's almost comical at this point with Alabama. I saw early in the day, I saw Louisville put that thing down on North Carolina State. Who else did I see this weekend? Penn State beat Ohio State. What else games was good? That LSU squad, Ben talked about in the last segment. 500 yards rush. Auburn, 500 yards rushing, and LSU showed up, and my man Leonard Fournette went for 284 on the ground, and it wasn't even like one of those 284s that was like smooth. My man was out there punishing people and breaking people's children down. At some point, man, they gotta make a decision here with these kids, like staying and playing college football. These grown men, Todd Gurley, Leonard Fournette, against these damn children, is getting bad. You know what I mean? Like, if a dude feel like he can make, like, I'm the dude that says this. If a dude feel like he can make money in the NFL and he's 19 years old, run it. The NFL will weed that out. And the first time that it don't work out the way somebody wanted to, it'll scare a lot of dudes off and make people think twice about that whole situation. I heard last week Roger Goodell talking about the possibility of a developmental league for the NFL. I was like, that sounds like a whole stack of bull. They ain't about to start no developmental league for what? When you got the NCAA free. You got to put no money into it. You ain't got to invest in it. The kids playing for free. That's the developmental league right there. Get your ass out of here. He the same one that when he got in the office, the commissioner's office, he the same one that tore down the World League or the NFL Europa or whatever the hell you want to call it. Dudes ain't finna come with no damn developmental league. I think this weekend you got the cocktail party, right? You ain't supposed to call it that no more because people are stupid. But whatever, Georgia and Florida, and no one cares. That Georgia squad is just horrible. I ain't even mentioned last week how they lost at homecoming to Vanderbilt. Yeah, I don't even know why I mentioned it just now. Anyway, question of the day is, how do we fix the NFL? How does the NFL go about fixing itself? We talked about the ratings last week, but for more so than that, and it's just the football has been bad. I mean, it's just been unappealing football. I find myself kind of just watching for you guys because I know I'm gonna need to talk about it when I get back on my show, but it's horrendous. You know what I mean? We got a couple of answers to the question of the day brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. First, let's go with Aubrey Williams from Facebook. She says, stop over officiating. It's been sucking the integrity out of football for years now. Like, I don't even know if that's not an oxymoron. Integrity and pro football, where? And I don't know that it's being over officiated the way people complain about the refs not calling stuff. People be hollering out that it's under officiated. So I don't know that anybody's like won't look at the game because it's being over officiated or because of the officials. I won't look at the game. Like, the officials end up being like a byproduct of the game being bad. It's like, while we at it, let's talk about that missed call in the third quarter. It's like they end up being like the subplot or whatnot. John Paul says, so terrible, I only care about my team this year. College football is way better anyway. I don't even know that either one of those things are true. Well, I can't say the first part isn't true, because most people only care about their own team. That's why, like, when I have conversations with people, you realize just how much people don't watch football. Like, people watch their own team and then, like, turn on Sports Center in the morning while they're getting ready, and, like, that's the day of, I know what happened across the league. Nah, you know what I mean? Because last week when everybody was like, man, Vic Beasley is on fire, he's on top of the world. And I asked this one dude, I was like, you been paying attention to this thing going on in San Diego while you've been waiting a year and a half for your prize pass rusher to come on and get a couple sacks against a broken down backup tackle? This dude, this kid from Ohio State who ain't practiced now bit in no offseason, went straight from college and got no OTA, no damn training camp, and just out there beasting on people, bullying people around, using pass rush moves, getting busy. Playing the run. The dude was like, I don't know. They what? Oh, he was a Falcons fan too. They're like, I don't know. It's San Diego. They losing. Yeah. Until today. Like my man Charles Ramsey. Yeah, until today. One more. Rick Curdy. I got a couple more, but I'll save the rest. And I'll get into the conversation. Rick Curdy says, fire Goodell and suspend officials for bad calls. And please stop with the BS about domestic violence. They don't care. Like, I don't think. Okay, let's go way backwards. I don't think that's a reason to stop with what he's calling BS about domestic violence. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to be the hypocrite and say, because that's the same attitude that it is like, tell that dude in San Francisco to get up off his damn knee and play football. Nope. You got a stage, man. The problem is the NFL is just not, and that's the part about the statement that's correct. The NFL don't care. I keep on reminding you guys about Jovan Belcher. Google it. There is no worse case of domestic violence than when the perpetrator of the violence and the victim of the violence are no longer breathing. They're no longer walking the earth. That's the worst case scenario, period. But when that happened, no one said a damn thing. Why? Because you couldn't suspend him? Because he was dead? It seemed like it wouldn't matter if you really cared. You know what I mean? Like if you weren't just trying to make a PR statement with Ray Rice or with Greg Hardy or with Jonathan Dwyer or what's the other kid's name? There's a couple of kids. Like there's so many. I think I read last week 60 up until 2014, up to the Ray Rice situation, 60 cases of domestic violence since Roger Goodell took over in the NFL. Now, I don't care. They care about the perception. They care about the perception of them not caring. That's where it's at. What else did this cat say? Rick Curdy. He said fire Goodell. I don't know. That's going to happen because the job that he's there to do, make the owners money. You know, mission accomplished. Making money hand over fist. And in suspending officials for bad calls, you guys to start talking about what a bad call is then. You know what I mean? You got to make that specific. Is a bad call a missed call? Or is a bad call just a missed call against your team, your favorite team? Or is a bad call just because when you start doing that, you come with that elementary school type of thinking, like they cheating, that little league type stuff, like the referees have some sort of ulterior motive towards a particular team or not. And if it gets to that point, then it's ball game. You gotta walk away then. You can't watch it then. It becomes wrestling. You know, if you feel like the outcomes are already predetermined by the people in charge, why even watch then? That's why I really discourage people who are fans. I know sometimes you get mad and you feel like the referees are jobbing your team, but you can't really be thinking that. You can't think that and then go back next week and watch more football. Man, they cheating my team. Well, then that means it's rigged. I wouldn't want to watch a rigged sport. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? All the conspiracy theories. I'm telling you, the NFL rigged, NBA rigged. And why the hell are you watching it then? It's rigged for LeBron. Got to talk about LeBron before we get up out of here too tonight. My plan is always on Monday to try to throttle down the show for Monday Night Football. But as I sit here and I talk about how bad the football is, why would I sacrifice my joint for this badness? You know what I mean? Like, I'll get to see Trevor Siemian and Brock Osweiler. I get to see that marquee matchup when I get off the air, and I suggest you guys do the same thing. Just stick with me, man. You ain't gotta go over to or just do like I'm doing. It's on, and I'm watching it, but I'm talking to y'all. So, a couple things that I thought about with the NFL. One big thing that I thought about with the NFL and what's going on with it. And I had to go find some things and do a little bit of crack research. Well, I wasn't looking up crack, but I went and did a little bit of research because I wanted to figure out myself, like, what is the new CBA? Not the new, it's not new anymore. The current CBA, what does it have to do with what's going on right now with the level of football? Because when the CBA was initially signed, and me and Rob was doing the Sports Kings over at WAOK and CBS, I said that day, I was like, these players just screwed themselves. And I wasn't even talking about just the money, because that was going to happen anyway. That's how all these contract negotiations, these labor negotiations end. The people with the money, they win every time. But in this situation, the players thought they were getting something with all these practice restrictions and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, bad move. Because what happened is all these old players, Drew Brees and Jeff Saturday and Adrian Peterson, all these guys that want to squeeze another year or two out of the back end of their careers, of course, they're going to sit at the table and say, you know what, we got to get rid of these two-a-day practices. Like everybody who's ever played football before, what was that, 2011, you know what a two-a-day practice is. And it's like an integral part of playing football during the summertime, getting ready, getting your body ready and all these things. But these old players, of course, the money going up, they want to get some of it, because the other thing they did was they cut the rookies out of the deal, essentially. And rightfully so. You know, when Sam Bradford and what's my man's name? Matt Stafford, Jamarcus Russell, they coming in the league getting $50 million guaranteed before they even step foot on the football field. Yeah, of course, you got to pare that down. I mean, you got to reel that back in. And they were right. But then once that happened, they realized, or what was told to them was that now this money can go to aging players to help them stick with their teams, which we've seen not happen. It seems like, all right, well, now we got all this money now. I need more years. Less practice is the answer. And it's not, because what happens is it helps you in the immediate, but you sign a 10-year deal. So the dudes that's coming in, like Cam came in that next year. Andrew Luck followed him, and all these guys, Russell Wilson, these young quarterbacks came in the next year, and they don't get the same attention that guys before them got. The reason the guy that was a number 4 quarterback, at one point, the Patriots carried 4 quarterbacks on their roster, and Tom Brady was number 4. The reason a number 4 quarterback can elevate from that status to possibly the best quarterback that's ever played the game is because of all the time that's allotted to him, and he's able to spend at the facility and getting what the coaches have for him. The quarterbacks now don't have that. They don't have that opportunity. So anyway, I went and I found this article. My man Bucky Brooks at the NFL.com. I like Bucky stuff, man. That dude is real. He has a lot of good insight and a lot of good perspective on the things that he talks about as it relates to the National Football League. So I listen to him a lot, and I read a lot of his stuff. But just so happened, he wrote this article at the same time where I was having my thoughts in 2011. He talks about the new CBA, how it won't only change the quality of play in the preseason, but also impact the way the games are played in the regular season. Now, this dude seems like Negro Dominus, don't he? Very prophetic. Gone are the grueling two-a-day practices that have long been a staple of training camps in their place. Teams are able to conduct 1 full practice per day, accompanied by a walkthrough. That, over time, that could help, especially when you got all these dudes. Like, we sit up here and we continuously ask the question. We talked about it, Ben Troupe and I last segment, talk about why the hell can't Jared Goff get on the damn football field? Yeah, guess what? You got to teach this kid a new language coming from Cal in what time to do it in. Like Jeff Fisher, as average as he's been, and it never seems like he's on the hot seat. Wasn't he supposed to get an extension like 4 weeks ago? And I still don't think it's come through. You know why? Because this seat is hot as hell. But because Jeff Fisher's like this mainstay for whatever damn reason in the league, ain't nobody talking about it. Yeah, man, Jeff Fisher on the hot seat like hell. And he's trying to use this backup, this young quarterback as some sort of leveraging chip. Like, look, I ain't played my young quarterback yet. I need time with him. Nah, dude. That dude need to be in the damn game like yesterday. I mean, Dak, Carson Wentz, these cats, let them get their lumps. And then if you figure out you made a damn mistake, but it's a costly one, not because of where you picked them at, but because you traded other bodies in the form of draft picks to go up and get them. It ain't like picking a bad quarterback now in the first round. Like, look at RG3. Who cares? And they traded a bunch of guys to get him, so that might not be a good example. But if you pick your quarterback in the first round, one of those first picks, and he don't pan out, yeah, whatever. You know, you don't lose the money that you lost previously, Jamarcus Russell type money. Nah. Anyway, Bucky goes on to talk about the full contact practices that teams are permitted. A total of 14 for the entire year, for the entire 17-week season. You get 14 full pad practices. Now, 11 of those have to be taken in the first 11 weeks, which means you get one per week for 11 weeks. And then for the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks, you can double up if you want to. That's kind of crazy. He talked about how the tackling suffers. All the stuff that we see now. Poor tackling, right? The frenetic pace of the game requires players to work on proper angles and tackling fundamentals regularly. It's hard to replace the tempo, aggressiveness, and the angle discipline needed without contact. In other words, football is a game that you have to practice by practicing football. It's not like basketball. I go get my ball, go out on the court, practice my moves against air or some dude with like a body pad or whatever, and I'm good to go. Nah, football, in my opinion, has always been a game that you got to practice. You got to practice it. You got to hit in football. But with all this fake and faux concern about head injuries and damn player safety, don't nobody care about that. You don't care. I don't care. You know, I care about dudes getting lied to. You know, when I talk to former players, that's what I talk to them about. You know, being lied to and telling them that, you know, there were no adverse effects. But now the players today, they don't need nobody's sympathy, because guess what? They got all the information. And if you want to continue to play, you do so at your own peril. Or, I mean, it may not necessarily be perilous, but you get my point. You got the information now. Bucky talks about the running game. How now, of course, we're seeing a lot less running, one, because of the rules, but then they don't get to do inside, or a lot of people call it 9-on-7. You know, where you work on your run fits defensively, you work on blocking and combo blocks offensively. You don't get to do that at full speed, so then you get into the game, it's like a shock. Like, dudes is moving a lot faster than those one walkthroughs you get. You know what I mean? I talked about the reduction of the full contact practices impacting the passing game. You guys want to know why these offensive linemen a lot of times are so bad? Yeah. She looked it too. Renee just chimed in just almost some random stuff. I'm talking about like the NFL CBA. She's like, this broad singing this national anthem is horrible. And the funny thing, I'm looking at it too, and I'm looking like, that's somebody auntie. You know, that auntie that be trying to sing that solo in church, and everybody be like, oh God. Everybody, all the family members be so damn embarrassed, but you can't really say nothing because it's church and she's singing about the Lord. Yeah, she looked like she was terrible. Golly. I wish you'd have said something earlier. I'd have potted it up. We could all heard it and laugh. Anyway, let me finish this up so I can get to the last segment of the show. So yeah, the offensive line, they need contact too. You know what I mean? They need to get pacing and speed. These guys, Von Miller and these dudes ain't playing when you show up in the first quarter. They already at full speed. So the adjustment of, especially, again, these young offensive linemen. This one here, Jake Matthews, you know, there's a reason it takes him a little longer to get ready, because these are the guys who need the time. More so than anyone, they need the time with the coaches. But this CBA that was signed before they got there and was locked in for 10 years. What is that, 2021? Yeah, locked in. So ain't no changing. The last one had an opt-out. That's how we got into the labor dispute from last time. It had an opt-out. This one ain't got no damn opt-out. They called it 10 years of... I remember the day after we got back into the studio, and they was like 10 years of peace. I was like, hold on. Well, all that's going to happen, these old white men have tricked everyone. Ain't no damn peace. In 10 years, all the people who negotiated this one going to be retired. Then you're going to be left with a bunch of dudes who ain't never went through a labor dispute, and they're going to get took. Sold up the river. You watch what I say. Watch what I say, man. All right. That's going to do it. Third segment of the show. We're going to pull in for the last segment and let you guys go so you guys can watch some bad football. If it get too bad, I'm watching Insecure, man. I got it on the DVR. I had to go to bed early last night. I got John Oliver last week tonight on the DVR. I got plenty of other options. If, one, this fantasy win looks like it's in the bag, and two, the game ain't entertaining, I'm out. I ain't going to see y'all tomorrow. I can figure something else to talk about on Wednesday than this terrible crap. Yeah, plus I got my guy Matt Latowski. We're going to talk fantasy football. Yeah, I'm way past good. It's One Mike with Big Mike.
Well, I have one question for you. Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mike with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mike with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemikewithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
We asked kids what it took to be a dad. This is what they had to say.
A father is always present. I mean, what real father figure can you have if they're not there?
In order to be a good dad, you need to love your son. You need to put gas in your car so you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make them breakfast. Yep.
I mean, just to maybe play like a board game with me, or to just stay home and play some video games with me. Just to do like that one little thing is what I really look forward to.
I'm not asking him to be a perfect dad, but he should try. He's just a constant force in my life.
There's no other type of love like a dad's love because it's not comparable to anything else.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mike.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Yeah. CeeLo Green. Can I possibly be inconspicuous? And it depends to be. I don't know no words from no song unless I hear the words. The beat can just play, and I don't know no words to it. Anyway, it's the One Mike with Big Mike show coming down the stretch here on a Monday. Appreciate you guys hanging out, chilling with me on a Monday. I'm here, Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app as well. Make sure you guys are signing up for your free Spreaker accounts. They are absolutely, positively free. And once you do that, search for One Mike with Big Mike. And then follow the kid. That way when I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you get a little alert telling you it's time to rock and roll. You can tell your friends all about it. Do that, definitely. Tell your friends that I'm here, man, and we can get it in this chat room. I got a text line set up at 404-902-8104. I got my live video stream for you weird, voyeuristic bastards. It's really a thing that's happening. You know what I mean? I'm here a year next week. The next week? I don't know, the 5th. Whatever day the 5th of November is, I'll make my year mark doing the One Mike with Big Mike show. Went from doing the Sports Kings, then doing, I forget what I called the show when I was on 92.9. It was short-lived before I got fired. Then we came back to do the Sports Kings again. And then now here we are, One Mike with Big Mike. Almost a damn year in. Go figure. If you want to catch the show on demand, if you didn't get a chance to hear the entire show, if you want to share it with somebody that you don't like very much and you want to punish their eardrums, you can do so via the outlets I already mentioned. You can catch it on demand there or on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music. And, of course, YouTube, where you can hurt their eyes, too. They can sit there and look at me while I'm talking. And they can also get the audio version as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @1MICWITHBIG. MIKE. I want to talk about two last things before I get up out of here today. I want to talk some basketball because it's coming up here. We're working on something for you guys so I can get somebody on to talk to me about some basketball before the season starts. Fingers crossed. What's probably happening now is that since more and more people are listening to the show, more and more people who be possibly soliciting to be on the show or listening to, I was like, I can't be affiliated with that ignorant crap. Like the other people we've got, like David Scott, the dude from HBO, and Real Sports, and the cats from Ballers. Like, they ain't have time to, like, research the show before they came on. So we kind of like, yeah, surprise, it's this. And now people might have caught on. may have caught on to what we're doing here. And it's like, nah, that's way too ignorant. I can't deal with that foolishness. So, just got to try a little bit harder. Oh, speaking of the NBA, my former coworker, Kristen Ledlow, got jacked yesterday by a couple of African American brothers, as I understand. That's what this fool called me to tell me. This fool Rob called to tell me, and his exact words were like, "Man, and how about it was a bunch of N-words?" Yeah, it was. Yeah, man, somebody done stole Ledlow's car and a purse and all that kind of was waiting for at the crib. Come on, man, y'all gotta be better than that, man. Like, she's good folk, you know what I mean, and it matters. Like, if that happened to somebody who's like, there's plenty of people I work with at that radio station that would have well been deserving of that. Yeah, all the way live, that'd have been deserving all the way, but not her. She's a real, like, cool person, man. She don't deserve stuff like that to happen, man. Got a Corvette, from my understanding. Last time I saw Ledlow, she was busting out a 5.0, a Mustang. So she's up that NBA TV money got folks upgrading, but then you're upgrading and people don't want you to have your stuff. They don't want to do what you did to get what you got. So they want to run around and take it, man. So hopefully, man, like Ledlow, she's strong. She'll bounce back. She already talked about she's gonna take a little sabbatical from social media, but she ain't gonna be no punk about it and be living in fear. Good for her, man. Screw these people. People want to steal your hard-earned stuff. Screw them. You know what I mean? But no, so in the NBA, we were just talking about, right? I was just talking about labor peace. Well, the NBA has been, like, quietly behind the scenes trying to avoid another labor disruption. They working on the CBA situation. So Adrian Wojnarowski, this is how you know it's official too, if he reported. So the NBA and the National Basketball Players Association are working on a 7-year extension to the collective bargaining agreement with a mutual opt-out in 6 years. League sources told The Vertical. This is his website on Yahoo. The 7-year deal could potentially deliver the NBA labor peace through 2023-24 season. Dang, when I see those numbers, I'm like, what happened to the flying cars? Like, we supposed to be on some other stuff right now. 2016? We still driving the same kind of car parents are driving, basically. I feel gypped, dude. Well, I'm supposed to have like an Android version of myself to do all the stuff I don't want to do. Yeah, man. Screw this. Anyway, unless the opt-outs are exercised in 2022, Lee sources told The Vertical, the new CBA will begin with the 2017-2018 season. That's LeBron, them, man. LeBron and Melo and them taking care of business, man. So I'm loving what these new NBA cats is doing, man. They're not just out here playing basketball, selling tennis shoes and sports drinks. They about the business of the league as well, and understanding how not only is it beneficial to them, and the ownership and the players in the NBA are a lot more like real business partners than the NFL could ever hope to be. God, the NFL is like straight up on some like, yes, ownership, we own you type stuff. Also, what's happening in the world of the NFL, and the NBA, I should say, and this has been just on my notes, just transferring from episode to episode, and I felt the need to make sure I spoke about it today. This stuff that's going on with the Golden State Warriors. All right, they're the topic du jour, because of what happened in the offseason. They lost the championship, of course, and then Kevin Durant decided to leave Oklahoma City and join them. And I've said this before on the show. Enjoy what you about to see. These cats is about to play some good, solid basketball. This ain't going to be that clunky stuff you saw when LeBron and Chris Bosh went to Miami. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a very fluid, moving, shooting, passing, defending ball club, man. It's going to be real fun to watch. And if you idiots And I'm calling you an idiot if you do this. If you listen to Stephen A. Smith and all that craziness about how the Warriors are ruining basketball, you're wrong, first of all, and you're an idiot, and you're a bigger idiot for following that idiot. There's going to be some good basketball being played by that one team this year. And then other teams going to be playing good basketball. It's going to be some stuff to see. You're going to want to see what this Boston Celtics team is going to look like with Isaiah Thomas, Marcus Smart, Al Horford now being there. This Hawks team here in Atlanta, Dwight Howard, now the new centerpiece. James Harden going to be running the point out in Houston for Mike D'Antoni. There's going to be a lot of stuff. We're going to see if that Lakers team can take that next step. My man Rob Calloway told me today that Carmelo, Porzingis, Joe, Derrick Rose, that's a playoff team. So Rob told me today, and I was like, really? What? Yeah. He said that's a playoff team in the East, as far as he know. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of stuff to watch. It ain't going to all be as fun as that Warriors team. But then here's the thing that's happening with that team. Because you got to find something, right? With this new way the media is, they got to find something. And that something, that low-hanging fruit, is the homie Draymond. Right? Draymond is the guy that apparently is going to rip the team apart. Huh? Yeah. Your Swiss Army knife, you do everything, emotional leader, you know, that's the dude. Come on, man. So this kid named Ethan Sherwood, he writes an article a couple weeks ago on the 19th of October, I believe. And he talks about them having chemistry issues regarding Draymond. Like, who don't know that Draymond just want to win? You know what I'm saying? Like, Draymond, he ain't talking about no points, no assists. Dude had 13 triple-doubles last year. Add another shooter to that. I rest my case. Obviously, the article about Draymond, this is Steph talking. Obviously, the article about Draymond, we all thought it was ridiculous, which it was, and kind of looking through a keyhole at somebody's life and that you don't really know about. Yes. This dude, Strauss, this other cat, explained how Draymond's antics on and off the court can be a problem for the team. He said throughout the season, Green, in his guise of motivation, because of course he's being fake, would berate his coworkers during games and practices on multiple occasions. He had to be separated from teammates, end quote. Huh. You know what this sounds like? It sounds like a guy who many consider to be the best basketball player ever. And a guy who played the same position who many consider to be the second best basketball player to ever play that position. Yeah, one of them is Michael Jordan. The other one is Kobe Bryant. That's exactly what this sounds like. He would berate his coworkers during games and practices. That dude slapped Steve Kerr. And didn't Kobe punch Kwame Brown? On multiple occasions, and he had to be separated from teammates. Yeah, sounds like the other guys who were pretty damn great at what they did. This is a bunch of do about nothing. Straight up. At all. Now, you know, let me tell you who you need to be worried about. If you're worried about somebody, worry about LeBron. And this is why you need to worry about LeBron. Because Tristan Thompson is dating what's her name? Khloe Kardashian. Lamar Odom's now, I guess, ex-old lady. I guess the divorce got finalized. Yeah, that's who Tristan Thompson's about to be engaged to. He done left his pregnant IG girlfriend, or a girl that he met on IG. Is that how you say it properly? IG model girlfriend. Got her knocked up and then left her for the Kardashians. Now, if you ever heard the Sports Kings, you know about my thing, the KKK, the Kardashian Coochie Curse. You spell it with all K's. Yeah, it's a real thing. It's been documented. This is like science too, dude. Like, you get yourself involved. Look at what happened to James Harden last year. The most recent example. Coach gets fired at the beginning of the year. James Harden still had a monster year and didn't even get a all-NBA sniff. This is James Harden. Like, you can think what you want to about this dude, and he shoot the ball too much. You know why he shoot it all the time? Because he get buckets. A lot of them. This dude was the runner-up for the MVP 2 years ago, played as well last year, and no one voted for this dude to be on any all-NBA team. Yeah, dude, the KKK, man. Yeah, not the Klan. The Kardashian Coochie Curse is real. And now it's on the Cavaliers. I don't know how LeBron let that happen. Like, as meticulous as that dude is, I don't know how in the world he let that happen. Speaking of LeBron, you got to see this. LeBron is now, and this is why I want to talk to a basketball guy, because I want to know if I'm reading this correctly. LeBron is now in a situation, in a place it feels like where there's no pressure. Like, that Cleveland thing, that's done. That's like, for LeBron, I'm going to go ahead and assume that's like Michael Jordan 6. Getting that championship for the hometown, whatever now, because LeBron is like talking cash stuff. Like, he's talking about, like, I told you about, like, last week, or maybe week before last, I was talking about the morbid talk about, retiring, how him and Carmelo and Chris Paul and those guys, that they're the ones that's on deck. D-Wade, they on deck after Dirk leave. That one group with Dirk and Kobe and Tim and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, they're going to be gone. And then they're the next group. He's, like, talking on these type of terms. And now LeBron's like, yeah, cuz, all these teams people trying to put together, they putting them together to beat me. I was like, yeah, really? Now, he ain't wrong, right? But you just don't hear people say that. Like, for the most part, that's how sports work, isn't it? Like, the champions get crowned, and people say, you know what? We got to figure out a way to beat the champs. The Cavs are the champs. And LeBron is still the best basketball player in the world. He's the best overall basketball player in the world. Here's his quotes, per Joe Varden of Cleveland.com. I know teams switch and pick up new coaches and new players. And their goal is kind of they want to beat me. It's never just about me, but I always hear them saying, we got to beat LeBron. Who you hear saying that? Like, who's saying it out loud? It's not just me on the court, but I understand that teams get together in this conference and across the league to try to beat me. My man. Like, yeah. Like, when a dude knows he's the best. And look, too, LeBron, like I mentioned just a second ago, he knows, like, time is ticking. So why not? Like, he's become that old, grizzled guy, like how old people don't have to have filters. They can say what they want to because people just say, oh, man, that's just granddaddy. Yeah, that's LeBron now. He goes on to say, I think every team is put together for one reason and one reason only, and that's to try to win a championship. That's what Golden State wants to do. For me, I'm the same way. I don't like being stagnant, and we've got great guys in here, but I want to continue to get better in the league each and every year and have the opportunity to win the championship. That's what it comes down to. You see, they re-upped on J.R. Smith after all that time of, kind of going back and forth. J.R. wanted this amount of money. Dan Gilbert was like, you ain't worth that. You opted out because, try to find a better deal. And it wasn't until, like, it was reported that the Boston Celtics were showing some interest. Brad Stevens guys up in Boston they were showing an interest in J.R. Smith. And then the deal got done. And now the team is back the way it was last year for the most part, and they can try to repeat as champions. Moving on, this is the One Mike with Big Mike show. We got a couple minutes left, and I want to talk some baseball real quick about the World Series tomorrow. The Cubs and the Indians. Yeah, Cleveland and Chicago. Go figure. That should be a ratings monster, shouldn't it? No. Before I do that, one more time, you guys still can chime in on the question of the day. What I like too. Some of y'all have been answering the question of the day, like even after, because it's posted on social media, and we're not going to delete it. So some of y'all have been answering the question of the day, like after the fact. Shout out to Brandon Jacobs, former New York Giants, former San Francisco 49er as well. Then he went back to the Giants. Running back, big ass, 270-pound tailback, which he answered the question about Eddie Lacy, about how fat Eddie would be. And I'm trying to get Renee to get him on the show, man. I tried to friend him on Facebook. He ain't friend me back, I don't think. I'm sure he'll friend Renee back. They always friend Renee back. So we'll try to get him on here. When I'll talk to him about that Giants thing. My man Jim Trotter kind of put it down the other day about the Giants. He was like, Jim Trotter came so strong, too. He was like, any one of my colleagues who come at me with that, the New York Giants are a classy organization crap, I'm going to tell them immediately, miss me with it. This is what he said on SportsCenter. Yes. I love when black people don't need the job. It's cool to have it, but you fire Jim Trotter. Jim Trotter's a writer, B. You know what I mean? They came, that's how you know. They called him. He didn't fill out no application. They came to call him because he's a man who's developed his sources. His NFL stuff is strong, and he knows what the hell he's doing. So he get on TV, and he don't feel the need to dance. He say what he want to, man. I got so much. I already did, have a lot of respect for him because he was always good to the Sports Kings when we was trying to do our thing and get guys who get reputable guys, on the show. He was always good to us, and I love seeing him do his thing on Sports Center and just like shut our whole situation down. What's happening here? Yeah, look at what's happening here. The Broncos are getting ran on. By the way, if nobody's paying attention, the Broncos have lost 2 in a row. Yeah, the 2 teams that played here in Atlanta yesterday beat this team in back-to-back weeks. But baseball tomorrow. World Series starts, and it starts in Cleveland. This is another one of those stupid things, man. This is why baseball and I will always be cordial. You know what I mean? Because it's a competition, and I'm a person who loves to view competition. I love the spectacle of competition, but I can't stand stupidity for the sake of stupidity. Like, from the time this came to be, one All-Star game was tied, and then my man, like Bud Selig, was like, well, we can't have that. You know what we got to do? Make the All-Star game worth something. So now the team that wins the All-Star game, the league, they'll have home field advantage in the World Series. What? So you need to tell me a bunch of dudes that ain't on my team control the fact that even though I had the better record, by like 9 games, the Cubs had 103 wins. The freaking Indians had 94. But they're going to start the World Series off, and the Indians have home field advantage because the AL won the All-Star game. Can anybody say stupid? That's like, what's the point then? Like, part of the point in winning all those games in any sport, basketball, football, baseball, is what? To secure home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And that ends up costing the Cubs money. The organization it costs them money in the 7-game series. One extra game of revenue when you got the better team, and you, in my mind, rightfully deserved it. Oh, the other thing I want to talk about is this whole narrative that the Cubs fans, they deserve a championship. Explain to me why. Like someone who lives in Atlanta, explain to me why the people of Chicago deserve a championship. This is a team that won in the 90s and won 6 with the Bulls. They just came off of back-to-backers a couple years ago with the Blackhawks. The White Sox have won. The Bears won in 85. That was a long time ago, but still, you got one. I live in Atlanta. Yeah, won 95 World Series with the Braves. That's it. Like, the city of Chicago has seen its parades. Like, I don't give a damn about what happened in 1908. I wasn't here. I mean, it's cool. I think they got a talented team for what I see. I like that kid Baez. He's like my guy because he's like, I don't give a F type baseball player, the type of dudes I like. But other than that, I'm cool. Chris Bryant, that dude's going to be the MVP this year, I heard him talking about. After, you remember last year, the beginning of the season, it was all about, they sent him back down to the minor league so they can control his contract for longer, and people tried to make that into a storyline. When in actuality, who gives a damn? You want to keep a dude like that, especially when you know he's going to be good. That dude is awesome. Him and, what's the kid behind him? Rizzo. Yeah, them dudes is good. Arrieta, they got a nice squad. Those are the dudes I know, and I'm kind of out. After that, I'm kind of out, unless you want to start hearing me talk about Mark Grace and Ryan Sandberg and Greg Maddux and dudes like that. The Hawk, Andre Dawson. That's like back in the 90s. I don't know most of these young dudes today. I don't know nobody on the Indians, but I figured it out. That's why I watch playoff baseball, because I know this is the best of the best. And the guys whose names are worth me knowing, I'll know. Before I get out of here, let me make sure I give everybody they props as far as the question of the day, which is brought to us by Sports News and Brews, goes. It is, how can the NFL fix the product? The product, I always talk about it being like dope, man. They step on it and step on it and step on it. Give us these Thursday night bad games. They sending these dudes to London seemingly every week now. Somebody's in London playing bad football. And now it's kind of come to a crescendo. Like, now it's just bad. It's not like, man, we get football almost every damn night. No, if that's the case, just give me the football on the Saturday. On the Sunday. Give me the best 2 teams that's playing that week. Flex that joint to Sunday night. And then, we'll live with the Monday situation. Whatever the Monday situation ends up being tonight, it's the Broncos and the Texans. Somebody about to get carted off after getting the hell knocked. Did y'all see what that Landry boy did to that linebacker yesterday for the Bills? My God. Man, that dude was trying to catch a damn case playing football. Anyway, question of the day. Miss Tasha Turner. She says deduct money from their paychecks, and then she put the little laughing emojis behind it. I don't know if that's going to solve anything. And whose paychecks are you talking about? The refs, the players, the owners? Well, the owners don't get paychecks, do they? The coaches? Mike McLeod off of Facebook says, eliminate Thursday Night Football altogether. Yeah, that's what I just said. Like, yeah, whatever. Bounce, cuz. I don't need it if it's going to be bad. And then, too, it kind of it's contrary to what you're saying you believe. The whole thing about player safety and all that kind of stuff. You don't believe it, because who the hell is playing on a Sunday and body is recuperated to play on a Thursday night again? And then you try to trick them and saying, well, you kind of get an extra built-in bye week because you don't play on the weekend. Come on, man. Like, it's a dude laid out there right now on the ground. Not saying that he wouldn't be laid out if it was a Sunday, but probably more likely on a day like today. And the last person, King_J_Free on Instagram, says retrain the refs at least. I fall in the minority, I guess, when it comes to this. I don't think the referees are that bad. I think King J Free, if I'm not mistaken, is a Falcons fan. And the Falcons feel like they've been jobbed 2 weeks in a row. And in reality, if you're a team that's trying to compete, and I'll talk about this more on Wednesday, if you're a team that wants to consider yourself in some sort of championship consideration each and every year, you gotta be better when it comes to adverse situations. Like one missed call, and which, by the way, the refs missed other calls that fell in the Falcons' favor earlier in the game as well. So you can't be the team that says, you know what, we'll take it when it falls our way, but when it doesn't go our way, there's a conspiracy. No one hates the Falcons. There's no reason. There's no abject reason for the league to be like, we don't want the Falcons to be good. Or for the league to be, we want the Falcons to be good. No. The Falcons are no different than, I don't know, who? The Bengals or the Dolphins or the Bills. Just a middling team right now that people, especially here in the city of Atlanta, feel like is better than it really is. This is not a complete team. I know that around here, stardom seems to be the move. As long as you're a star, everything must be all good. You tell me who the star is on that damn Seahawks team you saw last night. Russell Wilson? Yeah, probably. He's the most popular. But then look around again after that. Christian Michael, Doug Baldwin, Jimmy Graham. You know what I mean? Yeah, you just got to get football players and dudes that's going to play football. And like I say, on Wednesday, when I come back, I'm going to talk about this Falcons team going forward, because I think the misconception about this team is that, they're building towards something. Nah, how old you think Matt Ryan is? You know what I mean? Yeah, how long you think these dudes signed their contracts for? These two dudes in the backfield and signed up to play football for the Falcons. Yeah. These windows ain't as open as you think they are. And some things are going to have to happen at a much faster pace for the Falcons to be considered and taken seriously in the NFL. Let me make sure I got everything out before I hit the closing music, because it's probably some. Is this thing out on Netflix yet? This Obama movie, Barry? That might be something I check out before I come back on Wednesday and I do my, that impromptu segment that I've been talking about, doing some imaging for. What you looking at? I still haven't done it. Yeah, I've been working, man. I've been trying to get this money a little bit too. So, something's got to give, I guess, right? Yep, I went through that. Talked to Ben about that. Yeah. So guess what? I think it's time to go and watch some bad football, or watch Insecure and or Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. So that's going to do it for the kid. Once again, thank you. I know I say a bunch of crazy, stupid stuff when it comes to the people who listen to this show, but I appreciate y'all all the same. I am no dose, man. You sticking out with me most days. Renee, of course, I appreciate everything you do. Even though you was late today, I mean, damn. Nah, I'm playing. I'm 100% playing. Make sure you guys keep this number. It's my text line. You can text this number at any time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's 404-902-8104. Don't forget, you can catch the show, not just this one, all the shows for the last year. You can catch them on demand on Spreaker, the Spreaker app. Tune in, onemicwithbigmike.com, my website, on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and you can catch the video, the on-demand video and audio of this particular show and all the rest of them. Well, not all the rest of them on YouTube, but you can get them on YouTube. So subscribe to my YouTube, subscribe to my Google Play Music, and subscribe to my iTunes. You know what I need to do? I need to find something clever to say when it's time to go. I'm not good at those type of things. Like when Rob Calloway, the HBC report on Saturday, when he ends his show, he's like, you know where to find me, on the yard. Like, that's cool. I don't have that, so I just talk until I'm done talking, and then I go. I just turn everything off. Maybe you guys can help me think of something cool to say. I don't know. But until I do, see you guys on Wednesday. Don't forget, it is hump day, and it is the day I talk with my fantasy expert, Matt Latofsky, so you guys can use that text number I gave you. You can hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 WITHBIGMIKE with all your fantasy football issues, questions, trade requests, all those type of things. Matt Latofsky will be on with me on Wednesday to answer them. Until then, you guys enjoy this bad football, and we'll talk again on Wednesday.